Coming to you from the greatest city in the world, this is the #1 showbiz podcast. It's Talk for Two. Here's your host, Matt Bailey.
Thank you, Gary. That's our announcer, Gary O. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, as are our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network. Find fantastic entertainment products at axtel.com and awesome podcasts at tangentboundnetwork.com. Now, I hope everybody enjoyed the month off, and I have no clue how we're going to top this return. If ever the word iconic were appropriate to describe a guest, it would be this gentleman. We are pleased and honored to welcome Bob Barker to Talk for Two. Mr. Barker's career in television spanned 50 years. Notably, he spent 18 years as the host of Truth or Consequences, from the mid-late 50s until 1975. And of course, he spent 35 years at the helm of the greatest game show, audience participation show, you'll understand that in a little bit, of all time, the greatest audience participation show of all time, The Price is Right. I sat down with this gentleman to discuss his storied career. You'll hear about Mr. Barker's time in the military, his college basketball scholarship, and even his little-known association with the Magic Castle in Hollywood. He's written a book about his time in television called Priceless Memories. It's a few years old, but I guarantee you the memoir is as timeless as his memories are priceless. Click the link below to have a look. We also talk about the accomplishment most near and dear to Mr. Barker's heart, the DJNT Foundation, which has paid for thousands of spays and neuters through its charitable work. I urge everybody to take a look at djtfoundation.org to learn more about their important mission. There's a link below to visit that site as well. Though Mr. Barker is 92 years old, I gotta guarantee you, retirement has not slowed him down one bit. Now, I can't believe I'm about to do this. I got to do this because I used to pretend to do this all the time when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. So with apologies to Johnny Olson, Rod Roddy, Rich Fields, and even the gentleman himself, this is too good an intro to pass up. Here now, our interview with the star of The Price is Right, Bob Barker. Bob Barker, welcome to Talk for Two. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine, Matt, and I hope you are as well.
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here. I want to jump right in to your career as a broadcaster. Now, the thing I find most interesting is that you, as a broadcaster, you didn't come from the world of stand-up or even improv, but I am curious, did you have any other theatrical experience before getting your first job in radio?
Well, I owe my first job in radio to the United States Navy.
Yes.
I was a naval aviator during World War II.
Yes, thank you for your service.
And when I got out of the Navy, I went back to college, finished last year, and I wanted a part-time job. And I heard about the manager of a radio station who was crazy about airplanes.
Yes.
He even had an airplane of his own out at the local airport there in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
And it occurred to me, now I had never even been in a radio station. I knew nothing about radio.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been in a school play. I'd never been a debater. I'd never been in front of an audience in my life. But it occurred to me that if this chap was crazy about airplanes, he might like to have a former fighter pilot work for him.
Yeah.
So I put on my naval officer's uniform and my wings of gold, and I went in and met Mr. G. Pearson Ward. And he and I talked for about 45 minutes about airplanes, and I had my first job in radio.
That's wonderful.
And that's how I got started.
That's wonderful. I remember reading that in your wonderful, wonderful memoir. And the thing I found interesting is that you went to Drury University. I think it was a basketball scholarship, right?
That's right.
That's right. Did you was that the career path that you were on, was to be a professional basketball player?
Oh, no. I was never going to be anybody's professional. I was good enough to get a scholarship to Drury university. But Drury was a small college and is a small university right there in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I owe a big thank you to basketball beyond the scholarship. When I went into the Navy, the thing that I heard the most about was pre-flight training.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a real backbreaker, the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And it consisted, there was no flying at pre-flight. You had 4 hours of ground school and 4 hours of physical training. And the physical training was boxing and wrestling and swimming until you were exhausted, and running an obstacle course that was just horrendous. At least it was described to me as horrendous. Now, I went to the University of Georgia pre-flight, and just as I arrived there, it was the start of the basketball season.
Yes, sir.
And I heard on the public address system that if you wanted to try out for the basketball team, you could do it. They told where and when. And I thought, well, they're going to have real hot shots from all of the big universities around the country, and I'd never be good enough. And then I thought about that obstacle course, and I thought, well, I'm going to try out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the basketball tryouts, and believe it or not, I was selected to be on the team.
Wow, that's cool.
And as a result, I never saw the obstacle course. I never did any of they did what they described as tumbling.
Yeah.
It was gymnastics, and the guys were breaking their collarbones and throwing their shoulders out and all sorts of things. I never did any of that. All I did was play basketball. And I have been grateful to basketball ever since.
That's wonderful. And of course, like you said, you got out of the service, came back, and you landed in broadcasting with that first job in radio. And I've always been curious, because everybody knows you as the broadcasting master. What was the most difficult thing to learn about being a broadcaster?
I couldn't tell you that anything was difficult. It all was very relaxed and came to me very easily. And as a matter of fact, I got my first chance to do an audience participation show right there at KTTS in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
I was the announcer on duty, and there was an audience participation show there in our own studio, and I had seen it often and listened to it, of course, as when I was the announcer on duty, and I knew how it went. But everything in those days was live. There was nothing taped, nothing recorded, nothing like that.
Right.
And the host of this show didn't show up. And we were going to have nothing but dead air if that show didn't go on. And Mr. Ward came rushing into the announce booth to me, and he said, "Bob, you have to get in there and do that show." Well, as I said, I knew the show, so I went running in there, I grabbed the hand mic, and I was on the air. And I went out in the audience, and I said something to a lady, and she replied. And then I said something else, and they roared with laughter. The audience roared with laughter. And I'll never forget, it actually startled me. I kind of jumped.
Yeah.
But I thought, oh, my, that sounds good. And I decided to try to make them do it some more. And I did. And it went very nicely. And I got a lot of laughs.
That's wonderful.
And fortunately, when I went home, my wife had heard the radio show.
Yeah.
And when I came in, Dorothy Jo said, "Barker, that's what you should do." She said, "You did that better than you've ever done anything else."
Yes.
She didn't say I was good. She just said I did it better than I'd ever done anything else. So she and I set out from that moment on to get me on a national show.
Yes.
And thanks to the good Lord, we did it.
That's right, Truth or Consequences, which I love. But how many episodes, to your knowledge, survive today on tape? How many were recorded and are archived? Are they all archived, or back to what you were saying about it being live?
Well, I don't know how many there are, but it was a good many years. How many years was it? It was about I did it first time in 1956, and then I started Price in 72, but I was still doing Truth or Consequences. I did them both.
Yes. For 3 years, I think you did both of them. For the first 2 years of Price.
You know more about my history than I do.
No. I've just been doing a lot of research and reading the book, and I got to say, loyal friend and true of The Price is Right here. So I got to say, summers and sick days at home were spent watching you on CBS. So if I do, it's by osmosis. But I want to talk about one of the writers on Truth or Consequences, Milt Larsen.
Yeah.
Now,
what about Milt? Milt Larsen was indeed a writer on Truth or Consequences. And one day we were doing 2 shows a day, and one day between shows I was up in my dressing room lying down. He said, Barker, he said, I want to show you something. Come on. So I went with him and went into Hollywood.
Yeah.
We were out in Burbank doing the show. And we went into Hollywood, and he showed me this old mansion. And it was a wreck, practically, or it seemed to be. And he said, I'm going to have this place refurbished. And he said, I'm going to put a restaurant in eventually. I'm going to have magic shows. I'm going to have magicians from all over the world. And it's going to be called the Magic Castle.
Yes.
And I said, Milt, you're going to lose every penny you have. Well, he didn't take my advice, and it was a huge and is a huge success. It's probably as well known as anything in all of the magic world. And he has magicians from all over the world, and he's made a bundle, and more power to him.
Yes, absolutely. That's actually what the question was. I have some friends who are members of the Magic Castle, and
are you? Are they?
Yes, and that's where I come from. That's my background. I'm a magician myself, and I was talking with somebody the other day. I said I was going to interview you, and he said there's pictures on the wall from your time emceeing the Academy of Magical Arts awards banquets. Did you perform some magic tricks at the Magic Castle when you were emceeing?
No, I did. I emceed the banquet at the end of the year for 20 years.
20 years.
I did it for 20 years.
Yes.
And I saw some great magic, but I didn't try it myself.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I want to turn our attention back to Truth or Consequences. The show, you spent a lot of time in the book talking about just the wonderful, fun, improvisational nature of the show. Do you think a show like that, do you think Truth or Consequences would work today? Do you think it would do well to come back?
Well, I had a fellow approach me and wanted me to go to the Ralph Edwards family. They have the rights to Truth or Consequences, and see if we could get the thing going again. Mm-hmm. But I told him if the Edwards family wanted to do the show, they would come to me. But I couldn't do it now. I could do it for about 15 minutes, maybe a full half hour, but I'd never make an hour, and I wouldn't be back the next day, and probably not for a week. I'd have to rest. Yeah. But I didn't pursue it. I said, I pass. I don't want to do it. Now, could it make it? It could possibly make it. Mm-hmm. But you'd have to get the right writers. You Truth or Consequences, you can't just throw it together.
Right.
We had a staff of 4 or 5 guys, and they worked on this and came up with splendid ideas, and all in good taste. And there's so many things to consider. Nobody gets hurt, and nobody is offended, and all of these things. So I don't know, first of all, where you'd ever find the writers, mm-hmm. and then you'd have to find a host. Yeah. And I don't want to sound conceited, but I don't know who you'd get to host it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I love that era of television so much, and so we're going to switch gears now to talk about price. Now, this is something I don't know that you've ever spoken to, or I don't see that you talk about this often, but I'm curious since there was the first installment of Price is Right, hosted by Bill Cullen. I'm curious if you ever had any conversations about when you were about to take it over, and what he may have said to you, anything that stuck with you when you were about to host Price is Right?
No, Cullen was a fine host, and I met him and talked to him very briefly. He and I were both guests on a show, and but I didn't know him well at all. However, I know that he was a fine host. But the Price is Right that he did, in no way, well, in a very remote way, resembled the show I did. When Bill did the show, it was just, I don't know how many contestants he had, maybe 3 or 4. They sat at a table and they brought in various things and they bid on them, and that was it. And that was, had a good run. And then when it was off, Mark Goodson developed this whole new idea for the show. And he called me and told me he had a new show, Price is Right with a whole new format, and would I be interested in hosting it? And I was doing Truth or Consequences at the time, but it was in syndication, and so I could do a network show. And I said, sure. And I went in and looked, and he told me the idea, and I said, Mark, I think that'll work. And he said, I do too. But neither one of us thought I'd ever do it 35 years.
Oh, well,
But I did, and it was a huge success, and it is still a huge success.
Yes, and it really still is. I think it'll be 44 years now.
Incidentally, an interesting sidelight, after I'd been doing Price is Right for some time, I was talking with Bud Grant. Bud Grant was the head of daytime on CBS at that time. And Bud Grant told me that when he bought Price is Right from Mark, he had told Mark he'd buy it if he got Bob Barker to host it.
Wow.
Well, I didn't know that, of course. Mark just said he approached it very casually, that he'd like to have me see the show and so on. And he was always very generous with me when it came to money. But I'll tell you, if I'd known that the deal hinged on me hosting that show, he'd have been even more generous.
Yeah.
I'd have gone after bigger bucks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Oh, the business of the show. Yeah. Now, I have some questions. Again, growing up watching it, you were very, very good at, and this is, of course, a testament to your skill. You were very good at building tension before revealing that somebody had won a pricing game. And
oh, sure.
I've always been curious, how often did you know, was it all the time that you knew that they had won? Or were there some games where you were just as surprised?
No, I didn't want to know, no. I didn't know. But Price is Right gave you an opportunity to really stretch your stuff. You had a chance to get laughs. You had a chance to. There were some very sentimental moments on the show. There were periods where you had to cover for some kind of thing that gone wrong. It was an adventure, and I enjoyed it. I really did. It was stimulating. I had fun, and the audiences we had were just great. They reacted so well, and we just laughed and laughed and laughed.
Yes, you did. Now, I got to ask, I hate to ask you to play favorites, but you talk about all these different groups that came to see Price over the years. Is there a group that you kind of enjoyed the most, an audience group that you had the most fun with?
No, but we had some, I had fun with all of them, but we had for instance, we had a big group from West Point. And we had the West Point choir was there, and we had them sing on the show. We had college groups from all over the United States. College kids loved The Price is Right.
Yes, we do.
And we had big groups from the Army and big groups from the Marines, big groups from the Navy. And we had church groups. We had groups of every description. We had people of all colors and all religions. And a writer once said that it was too bad the United Nations couldn't work things out as well as they do with The Price is Right, where we had black, brown, white, you name it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my last Price is Right question, again, going back to something a little more specific that I don't know if you'll be able to speak to this, because it was something in the 70s. You shared Studio 33 with the Carol Burnett Show.
Right.
And both of you guys were such huge productions. I mean, Carol was a variety show every week, and you guys with the Doors and the prizes. I've always wondered, again, because I haven't seen it in my research, how you guys worked that out with the production schedule on Studio 33 for days of the week.
Well, I'm going to have to confess that I was not involved in setting up the schedule, and I can't answer that question.
Of course, I understand.
But they had executives there who could handle almost any problem, and I'm happy to say they were able to handle that one.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to them, because two big productions, a stage like Studio 33, which of course is now the Bob Barker Studio.
Right.
And so I guess we'll throw in one more last question. How does it feel, and then we'll go to DJ and T, how does it feel to have been such a comfort for so many years to so many generations on the television?
How did it feel?
Yeah. Well,
I will tell you how I feel about it.
Of course.
I thank the good Lord in my prayers every night. I thank Him for all the blessings that He has bestowed upon me, and I know how very, very fortunate I am. And among the blessings was The Price is Right. It was fun. It was I was well paid for it. And what more could you ask? I never got up in the morning and thought, oh, I don't want to go to this show today. I got up and I was ready to go, because I had just as much fun as anyone else there.
That's wonderful. And you got to do some good work, some humanitarian work as a result of it with the DJ&T Foundation. Before we get into the questions, can you tell our listeners a little bit about what the foundation does, please?
Well, the DJ&T Foundation is named after my wife and my mother. My wife's name was Dorothy Jo, and my mother's name was Matilda, but everybody called her Tilly. So I named it the DJ&T Foundation. It was to help animals, and is to help animals, and both of them were animal lovers. And we make grants to animal organizations of every description, and try in every way we can to protect animals of every description.
Mm-hmm. And one of the main ways is the spay and neuter.
Spay and neuter.
Yes.
So I started saying years ago on Price is Right, I started closing the show by saying, help control the pet population, have your pet spayed or neutered. And at that time, there were people who didn't know what spay and neuter meant even. And I got mail from organizations all over the country who were trying to promote spay neuter, telling me how much that had helped, and it did help. And now spay neuter is a common thing, and it also it's done much more often than it once was. And it is really the biggest problem that we have in the United States, so far as animals are concerned, is overpopulation. Mm-hmm. There are just too many cats and dogs born. Right. There aren't enough homes for all of them. There are people and organizations all over the United States working to find homes for cats and dogs, and they're doomed to failure because the homes don't exist. There aren't enough. And the only answer is spay neuter. some people say, well, we can adopt our way out. You can't adopt your way out of the problem. Maybe in a small town you can. But in New York City or in Los Angeles or Chicago, you are not going to adopt your way out of the problem because there aren't enough people to adopt all the animals.
Certainly not.
And so spay-neuter is the only answer.
Let's get to people, and you've talked about bringing awareness and bringing awareness to spay-neuter. But I'm curious, why doesn't the general population seem to worry about pet control? Why isn't it on our minds more?
Well, it is on the minds of many people, and it's on the minds of more people with each passing day.
Of course.
As I've said, now we have organizations all over the country that are urging people to have their pets spayed or neutered, and people are more aware of it, and it is happening more often. Oh, yes. I'm not discouraged. I'm encouraged.
That's wonderful. Is there an achievement with the DJ&T Foundation other than just spreading awareness? Things that you've been able to accomplish with the grants that you're most proud of with the foundation, that the foundation has?
Well, for years we actually paid for the spay neuters all over the United States through local organizations. The local organizations would do the spay neuters, and we would pay for them. And I'm proud of that. I know that we actually, it wasn't a matter of trying to educate people. We paid for thousands. But in any event, I'm still making grants, though. The foundation still makes grants to organizations that are doing spay neuters. And we make grants to organizations of other sorts, too.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I wish you the best of luck as it continues. And I love the mission, and I just love the foundation as well. And so I have a final question for Bob Barker. And this is my
Lay it on me.
My final question. Now, and it has to deal with game shows. I want to know where you see the future of the game show. What do you want for the genre of audience participation shows in the future?
What do I want?
Yes. Let me see if I can say this a little better. What kind of show do you see in the future? More audience participation shows. Do you hope that game shows continue on in the future?
Well, game shows, I don't have any more hopes for them than I do for any other show on television. The game shows come and go, but there usually are game shows on the air.
Of course.
And I think that I came along at just the right time for what I did. When I came on, Art Linkletter and Ralph Edwards and Jack Barry and the fine hosts of that type were working. And it was an inspiration for me. I worked there in that small radio station. I'd listen to these guys, and I'd think, I'd love to give that a go. And I got my chance, and I'm so grateful for it.
And I am so grateful to you, Mr. Bob Barker. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Matt, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love to talk about myself.
Well, I'm glad you do. Thank you so much. Mr. Barker, an honor. Thank you so much. I wish your foundation much success, and I hope you continue enjoying your more than well-earned retirement. Everybody, remember to go to djtfoundation.org. I've put a link to it in the description below. Also, check out Mr. Barker's book, Priceless Memories, and that I've linked to as well. We'll take you to Amazon right there. That's it for us today. Thank you again to our season sponsors, Axtel Expressions and the Tangent Bound Network. Stay tuned to talkfor2.com as well as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for more from the #1 Performing Arts Podcast. Reach out by emailing talkfor2cast@gmail.com and talk about us on social media using hashtag talkfor2. That's TALKFORTWO. Signing off for Talk for Two, I'm Matt Bailey, reminding everyone out there to keep talking for two.
You can hear more show business interviews with the stars at talkfor2.com.